Samsung just unveiled its new Galaxy Tab S11 series, and there are two models this year, the regular Tab S11 and the flagship Tab S11 Ultra. And honestly, the Ultra is the one that really stands out yet again to me, and not just against any other tablet, but really when it stacks up against Apple's latest iPad Pro. The Tab S11 Ultra comes in at just 5.1 millimeters thin, which despite that slim frame, you're still getting a massive 14.6-inch dynamic AMOLED display with a 120Hz refresh rate, anti-reflective coating, and up to 1600 nits of peak brightness. The iPad Pro is still brighter on paper, but Samsung's anti-reflective layer could make a huge difference in real-world use, and it doesn't cost anything extra compared to getting the nano-texture glass to cut down on those reflections for the iPad. With that said, if you're really looking to reduce a ton of glare and reflections, the coating on the Samsung tablet is a lot more subtle compared to that nano-texture glass, so just keep that in mind if that's something you really want your tablet to do. The smaller Tab S11 is 11 inches, also with that AMOLED display, so even if you go with the base model, you're still going to get that premium screen. And as you know, I really like the look and feel of Samsung displays. They're just so bright, vibrant, and vivid, so super happy that both displays are great on both tablets. Powering both tablets is the MediaTek Dimensity 9400 Plus. Pair that up with 16 gigs of RAM and 1 terabyte of storage on the Ultra, plus you have microSD expansion up to 2 terabytes, something that you won't ever get probably on an iPad. Samsung is kind of killing it there with storage, so I highly recommend just getting the lowest and putting in a microSD card. Now, Samsung also claims a big jump in CPU and GPU performance this year, and this is all kind of to help drive in the new Galaxy AI features. Obviously, I've had a very brief interaction with these tablets and tested them for like an hour when I went to New York to check these out, so I couldn't really give you a full comparison on performance between the iPad and this Ultra, but we will be doing that soon, so be sure to subscribe when I get my review unit in. I'll be going into a much more deeper comparison. But speaking of Galaxy AI, it is front and center here. With One UI 8, you get tools like Gemini Live, which can actually see what's on your screen or what you point your camera at if you decide to do that. And you get contextual answers. There's also Drawing Assist that cleans up your sketches, Writing Assist to refine notes or emails, and AI summaries that you can keep in a floating window while multitasking. On top of that, Samsung Dex has been upgraded with an extended mode for true dual screen setups and the ability to create up to 4 different workspaces. Now, this is very reminiscent of the new iPadOS 26 changes, where you basically perform a single swipe or gesture to go from a full screen app down to the, Dex mode, multi-window kind of situation. But then Samsung sort of takes things a bit further and gives me a more macOS style setup where you have all these different spaces. So you can have various desktop spaces that you can swipe between. Again, haven't had the chance to fully test that on my own or do any actual work on these, but I can see all of the benefits from Galaxy AI to the new Dex mode productivity features coming together quite nicely. Apple was very behind in this aspect up until iPadOS 26, which is going to be coming out very, very soon. So it'll be intriguing to test which multitasking system is truly the more functional one for me. One other thing worth mentioning here from a productivity standpoint is that Samsung hasn't really come out with a new keyboard and trackpad kind of all-in-one case or folio in the last couple of years. Last year, we had this folio with the keyboard and it had an updated Galaxy AI key, and that was really it. And it didn't have a trackpad. There is an updated version of that specific case. And speaking with a Samsung rep here, I asked about whether or not one with a trackpad was coming, and apparently it is on its way. And I'm really excited about it because from what the changes that I heard, I didn't see it, but I heard some details. It does kind of sound very Magic Keyboard-esque. But unfortunately, this might not be available until at least early 2026 as of right now. So you're kind of left with a folio cover or folio keyboard case if you want it. Both are fine. They did move the pins to the back of the tablet, so I feel like that's a better connection point, and it just works better with these cases. But yeah, I am holding out hope for the trackpad keyboard combination case. The S Pen also got a major redesign. It no longer uses Bluetooth, which means no charging, no pairing, and it's sort of just always ready to go. And now it docks magnetically on the top edge of the tablet, just like the Apple Pencil would on an iPad. Sorta. It's not as seamless in my opinion. The Apple Pencil just sort of goes right in the middle. There's a stronger magnetic feel. and it sort of just snaps right in effortlessly. I was struggling a little bit to find the right spot here with the S11, but that's a minor gripe overall. Last year, you kind of put it on the back. That was okay, but I think I prefer putting it on top. The new cone-shaped tip supports more tilt angles, and the hexagonal body makes it feel way closer to an actual pencil. Honestly, this whole setup does give me Apple Pencil vibes. It's a lot more in line with what Apple offers, but you still get Samsung's usual extras like quick notes and floating tools or menus that you can access quickly. For those that care about the tablet cameras, the Ultra has a 13-megapixel main camera, plus an 8-megapixel ultra-wide on the back, and a 12-megapixel ultra-wide camera up front for video calls. The smaller Tab S11 simplifies all of that with just one 13-megapixel rear and the same front camera. Battery is another positive for Samsung here. Usually, especially with the Ultra, you get an 11,600 mAh battery with 45-watt charging, while the regular model carries an 8,400 mAh battery. Both should easily last you a full day and then some, and charging speeds are a lot faster than what Apple gives you currently with the iPad Pro. The 13-inch iPad Pro technically doesn't have a milliamp hour listed on Apple's website, but some third-party sources indicate that we're sitting roughly at 10,300, give or take. Obviously, these numbers are meaningless without some real-world testing, and so I do look forward to doing lots of work and watching tons of content on a flight or at home to get a true idea of how this compares to the iPad Pro battery, which is how I use mine normally. If it's anything like previous generations, it probably will outlast the iPad Pro, but by a small margin. The Galaxy Tab S11 Ultra starts at $1199, while the Tab S11 comes in at $799. Both are available in gray and silver. So yeah, Samsung is clearly aiming yet again its Tab S11 Ultra right at Apple's iPad Pro. It's thinner, it's got that massive AMOLED display, and the redesigned S Pen now feels more like the Apple Pencil than ever, but without the hassle of charging or pairing. Add in the Galaxy AI tools and this new Dex feature, and this is looking like one of the more capable tablets that Samsung has ever made. But of course, what do you guys think? Would love to hear from you in the comments down below. Would you take this over the new iPad Pro, or is it just so hard to just break away from the ecosystem that I know all too well? I think it's too early for me, obviously, until I get my own unit in-house, but if it's any indication, over the last few years, I've kind of always really liked the hardware and software features that you get on the Samsung Galaxy Tab S10 or now the new S11 Ultra, more so than the iPad. But this year with iPadOS 26 giving us a lot of the software features that I've wanted, it might be a different story. So you'll have to subscribe and let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are, because I would love to hear it. This has been it with MacRumors. Thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you around in the next video.